Okay, talk about the battery. So there's the eco-worthy battery, 150 amp hour. This is pretty similar. This just isn't in an armored case. They don't sell this one anymore, 150 amp hour. So this is the panel that you do have. This is just this is temped. I just never really changed it. I just have to drill holes in the side and run these wires out. But think of it this way, okay? This is your old supply. I'm not going to stick my fingers in here because I actually have the RV plugged in right now. But this is the AC side. This is the hot side. If you disconnect from the plug that plugs into your house, that 30 amp, then this will be all inert. You can mess with it. If you disconnect your battery, then that sits up at the front of the coach, then you will also, this will be clear. So then you can mess with electrical. So this is the old supply. This old supply is designed for 12 volts. Okay, it produces 12 volt. I don't remember what the exact current is, but you can see that there's a 40 amp. If I go over here, there is a 40 amp fuse in there. So I'm presuming that this probably produces 30. So that's a good number. There's only 4 wires on this. Okay, so if we look at over here is the AC side, back there, and that goes up into here and connects, and it'll actually say on your wiring scheme, probably written in, with a hand ink, it'll say which breaker is your supply, your 12 volt supply. Happens to be my second breaker down here, if I recall. So I have disconnected it. You can see there's nothing on that particular breaker. Now, this supply, the cool thing about this is that it connects to an app on your phone, the Victron app. And that Victron app will let you see the condition of your battery, how full it is, how empty it is. I know you have the one up there, like your status panel. That's a different type of test. The app is going to give you more accurate data once it's set up for the size of battery that you have. The reason this won't work is because it's made for lead acid batteries, made for standard lead acid batteries. This is a multifunction. It'll do all kinds of different voltages. On top of that, it acts as a power supply that powers all of your lights and all that stuff. So this kind of replaces this, but at the same time, it also puts out the correct voltages for your battery. All right, so let's talk about again where this is connected. So the AC side of this, the high power side, the side that plugs into an RV park when you go, it'll run right up here. It's super easy to find, and a lot of times there's actually a connector on there. You just disconnect it. And again, that goes to there. Now let's talk about the DC side. So the DC side, this has an output here, okay? This DC side is hooked up. Notice it says VCC plus. And then, of course, the minus goes to the negative. All the minuses typically go to the same place. But specifically on your panel, it's going to have that VCC plus. That is your power supply connector. So super simple. Goes from there. Just imagine this through the wall, and that's the way it's going to be. Is I'm gonna put a through grommet. It's going to go to the back of this panel, and all this will be gone. This is just, again, temped. So this is a 10 gauge tinned wire. This is made for boating because it's a tinned wire. Where you're in an RV, you don't have to, but I would suggest getting a 10 or larger gauge. This will do 30 amps. Short distances, and your short distance as well. So I would do at least a 10 gauge and a high strand count. So like, for instance, 120 volt wire, which you might have laying around, is not the best stuff to use. It doesn't carry DC as well. Now, if you do have electrical wire laying around, if you had an 8 gauge, I would say you could probably do an 8 gauge or a 6 gauge. That would be oversized, and it's a coarser there's less strands inside the wire. They call that KCML. Welding cable is the best because welding cable is made for DC. It's very, very high strand count, like a super fine, almost like angel hair inside. So anyway, just so you know, but you can use almost any wire. I mean, you're never going to be pulling that much juice. So again, power supply. Positive connects to the VCC, negative goes on this strip. Pretty simple stuff. Again, if you kill this, it's all dead, so you won't have to worry about shorting anything. Now, let's talk about battery cables. So battery cables, here, the big one, and here, the big one. Okay, that's negative, positive battery, and it probably says battery back there. Those are the cables. Those big cables are the ones that go to the front of the coach. You're not going to be using those because this, and I'll tell you why, this is not made to be outside. Okay, this is needs kind of a environment where, you know, there's not super extreme temperature swings and it doesn't get below freezing. And it's light, and it doesn't outgas like a lead acid. Lead acid outgasses. So these are ultra nice because, and again, they're light. You can't believe how light this is. This battery is like maybe 32 pounds or something like that, if I recall. You're going to be really surprised by that. All right, so we know where this goes. We talked about this. It goes to the VCC and the minus. Okay, the battery's over here, and wires, again, to the battery and the battery. But you're going to be taking off those big cables that go to the front of the coach. That's it. And the easiest way to do this is, of course, either run it behind. You could run it out the front, but I don't suggest it. To get behind this is super simple. 4 screws, it rocks out, and then like you have that little bench. That bench, you could just, you can get these through grommets, like cable through grommets, but they're larger for cables. You could right on that step. Now you might have room behind your panel. You know how like you have that platform? There might be room behind your panel to actually put your battery back there, like hidden. So you didn't even have to mess around with it. But if you had to, you could put it on top of that step and then just get some strapping material and build like a cinch strap for it so it doesn't fall off while you're traveling. Maybe put a rubber mat under it. That's an option. But again, super simple. And once you do this, you'll be setting up for this type of chemistry, lithium iron phosphate. You're going to set the capacity of the battery on the app here, and I can show you how to do that. And then it's going to, then you'll have everything good. This battery will run this refrigerator. This is a big refrigerator. Let me show you real quick. This will run this refrigerator, which is an aftermarket 12-volt fridge that we put in because the one like yours died. The core went bad. But I mean, it's a big refrigerator. And it'll run this all night with our lights and anything else that we're running 12-volt wise. And that battery goes down to maybe 50%, which is great, which is wonderful. And then we would plug in our, outside, we'd plug in our generator, turn that on. This runs off 110 volt off the breaker, and I'll show you where that's plugged in as well. I didn't talk about that. You run off your generator and your battery. This charges your battery at that 30 amps, and that's full like to 80%. You can watch it when it's charging. It's pretty incredible how fast that takes a charge. And then you can go another whole day. You just watch, you check your Victron app every once in a while to see what your battery state of charge is, called a SOC. Let's talk about where this is plugged in. Now, I know you see this cord here, and this is actually just plugged in an outlet right there. And I have that outlet run off of one of these breakers. The other option is to take this out. There's 2 screws. This tray slides out. You can put this in your garage, save it for later, whatever you want to do if you ever sell. So you take this out and slide this in and just figure out a way to, maybe put something around it where it's not going to slide around. It does need a little bit of ventilation, so you don't want to pack it with foam or something, but something that's going to make it, not shake around while you're traveling. So you can take this up here, okay? You route it up through your high voltage, Okay. There's going to be a there's going to be a green, a white, and a black. Green goes there. White goes there. And your black would go on whatever you took this off of. So it came off of this number 2 right here. You're going to take that wire and you're going to take the black and hook it up to that. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's going to be probably the same breaker size, which will probably be a 15 amp. So again, you just bring this up here, leave enough slack maybe to get, like bring it up, route it up here, leave enough to get all the way over here, and strip it back. Again, ground wire there, white wire there, which is your neutral, and your hot to your breaker. And again, you should be doing this all disconnected anyway, so it shouldn't be an issue. You don't have to pull these out of the coach, your battery cables that run to the front of the coach. Just take them off here and safe them. In other words, like poke them down and put, tape around them, or a wire nut, like a red wire nut. That way it can't short out. And then the ones in the front of the coach you can wrap with electrical tape. I would leave all that in the coach, just because if you ever sell, you could put that back in. You could give them a stupid lead acid battery up front and keep your stuff. Yeah, okay. I think that'll make sense to you. Again, just imagine all this as a hole in the back over there. And I actually might put this battery under there, which is one of the reasons that I did not drill holes yet. Anyway, cool. All right, man. I'm gonna upload this to YouTube and send you the link.